everyone, this is Karen.
Welcome back, everybody. This is Shane.
Today we're looking at part 2 of the tragedy of
Oedipus.
And the vocabulary words are riddle.
Riddle.
The first student to solve the riddle gets a pencil case.
Wow. Drown.
Drown.
Officials said that 6 people drowned in the flood.
Murderer.
Murderer.
The murderer of the prince must be caught.
Fulfill.
Fulfill.
Brad fulfilled his childhood dream of becoming a famous soccer player.
All right. Beggar.
Beggar.
On her way to work, Jenny bought lunch for a beggar on the street. So, we're still talking about the tragedy of Oedipus, right?
Right. So he's going back to his birthplace, Thebes.
That's right.
And what does he meet along the road?
A sphinx.
A sphinx.
And then I think Sphinx, she stops everybody on the road and then try to ask them like a riddle. And then if you can't answer it, you can't
You're
get
dead. She'll kill you.
That's right.
So this monster will kill you.
But Oedipus is actually very smart. So Sphinx told him a riddle and asked him to solve it. And does Oedipus answer?
So he answers correctly. The Sphinx is pretty upset about this, so she kills herself.
She drowned herself. So now everybody in Thebes thought of Oedipus as a hero.
So when he arrives at Thebes, he's a hero.
That's right.
And now there's this queen whose husband, the king, has just been killed. So she's single now.
That's right.
And Thebes is the coolest guy ever. Or not Thebes, Oedipus is the coolest guy in Thebes.
Yes.
So of course he's now going to marry the queen.
Queen Jocasta.
So now what has happened? He has killed his father.
That's right.
And he has married his mother.
Because Queen Jocasta is his mother, biological mother. So he did fulfill the prophecy.
And then he does actually find out, oh my, that person that I killed was the king.
That's right, King Laius.
So what's going to happen?
I don't know.
What's he going to do with this information?
It's such a tragedy.
And when his mother/wife finds out, what is she going to do?
I have no idea.
Let's find out.
Okay, let's find out, guys.
Enjoy.
The Tragedy of Oedipus.
Shortly after King Laius' death, a sphinx appeared near Thebes. The sphinx stopped travelers on the road and devoured anyone who couldn't answer her riddle. Oedipus approached the sphinx and was asked, "What goes on 4 feet in the morning, 2 feet at noon, and 3 feet in the evening?" Oedipus answered,
"A human."
Upset that someone had actually solved her riddle, the sphinx drowned herself in the sea.
Hello and welcome to Live Interactive English. I'm Mike.
I'm Kim.
And today it's part 2 of the tragedy of Oedipus. And I don't know about you, Kim, but I've already had enough tragedy from part 1.
It's already pretty tragic so far, but wait, there's more.
Oh, no.
So shortly after King Laius' death, remember Oedipus met him on the road. They got in an argument. King Laius is dead. Oedipus killed him.
That was Oedipus's father,
yes.
by the way.
So a sphinx appeared near Thebes. The sphinx stopped travelers on the road and devoured anyone who couldn't answer her riddle. Ugh.
That is not a nice thing to do. If you're devouring someone, you're eating these people. This part of the story always confused me because I always thought of sphinxes, I think that's the word, as being Egyptian, right?
Yes, I thought they were too.
That lion statue by the pyramids with the head, the human head, that's a sphinx.
Yeah, the head of a human, the body of a lion, right?
Yeah. Did they have wings? Maybe it flew across
maybe
from Egypt. Anyways, there's this monster, this sphinx. It's eating people on the road if the people can't answer her riddle. A riddle is basically a tricky question. We might use it to kind of talk about a clever joke that might make you think one thing, but the answer is another thing. But really, and in our story here, it's a kind of a puzzle with words. So I use a bunch of different words and I make you think. And you have to kind of think of the meanings of the words and how they could have other meanings than the one that you first think of. So it's kind of a puzzle that we're testing your brain and your logic and your problem solving by using this tricky question. For example, the first student to solve the riddle gets a pencil case. Yeah, because they're not always easy.
No, they aren't. And as we see, Oedipus has one that's kind of difficult. Oedipus approached the Sphinx and was asked, what goes on 4 feet in the morning, 2 feet at noon, and 3 feet in the evening? Oedipus answered, a human.
You
4
get it?
feet, you're crawling as a baby in the beginning of your life. 2 feet, you're walking. 3 feet, when you are an old man or old woman, you might have a cane.
There you go. So that's the riddle, right? Because you're thinking in the time of the day? No, the morning of your life. The noon, the middle of your life, you're walking, and the evening, as you get older, near the end of your life, you have the cane. But Oedipus figured it out. He said a human. He got the right answer. Now, this did not make the Sphinx happy. Upset that someone had actually solved her riddle, the Sphinx drowned herself in the sea.
Oh, what an overreaction.
You got it right! Ah! Sploosh, and then she drowns in the ocean.
Because to
Sphinxes
drown...
can't swim.
No, they can. And to drown is to die by being unable to breathe underwater. So if you're under the water in the ocean or in a lake and you can't breathe because you're not a fish, then you would drown. For example, officials said that 6 people drowned in the flood. Flood comes through, you get caught up, you're going to drown.
Oh my gosh, that's a bad thing to happen and a good reason to learn how to swim.
True.
Let's take a break and we'll be back with more about the tragedy of Oedipus. Yeah, come back to see what else bad happens to him.
Hello， 大家好，我是 Hanny。伊底帕斯从女祭司那边得知了可怕的预言，说他会杀父娶母。他可能以为这个预言指的是他的养父养母，也就是柯林斯的国王跟王后，于是他就逃离柯林斯，然后前往底比斯。在路上啊，他不是有跟一位老人起争执，然后杀掉对方吗？殊不知对方就是他的生父，是底比斯的国王。好，那故事接着写到 ，King Laius 他死后不久，有一只人面狮身怪出现在底比斯附近。那这个人面狮身怪，他就会拦住路上的旅人，只要答不出他的谜语，他就会把对方给吞掉。那么当伊底帕斯接近这一只人面狮身怪，他就被问到一个谜语是：什么东西早上用4只脚走，中午用2只脚走，晚上用3只脚走？然后伊底帕斯马上要回答是人。同学们有猜出来吗？这里的早晨啊是指婴儿他用4只来爬行，那么中午呢是指长大后人们是用2只脚来走路，晚上则是指人老年的时候就会要用拐杖了，所以就变成3只脚走路咯。好，那这个人面狮身怪碰到有人竟然可以解开的谜语，他很生气，然后就投海溺死了。这算是反应过度了吧？我们就顺便来学一下 overreaction， 就是过度反应，它是拼作 overreaction overreaction。再看课文单字 riddle 它表示谜或是谜语，那么 drown 表示淹死或是使什么淹死的意思。好，那另外 Mike 老师说他对这一小段故事一直感到很困惑，这人面狮身像不是就在埃及金字塔旁边吗？怎么会跟古希腊？好，其实 Sphinx 在古埃及神话跟希腊神话里面都有出现，是不同的形象的。那老师刚刚有用到 pyramid 是指金字塔的意思，它是拼作 pyramid pyramid。这篇课文中
The tragedy of Oedipus.
Oedipus arrived in Thebes and was treated like a hero for freeing the city of the Sphinx. He married the recently widowed Queen Jocasta, and together they ruled as king and queen. A few years later, the oracle told them that they had to find and punish the murderer of King Laius to rid their kingdom of a terrible plague. Oedipus soon discovered that King Laius was the old man he had killed on the road to Thebes.
All right, so Oedipus, this is actually kind of the good thing that happened so far in
The
this story.
only good thing, yeah.
He didn't get eaten, he solved the riddle, he saved all the other people because the Sphinx is now dead. So that's a good thing. That's not part of the tragedy, but don't worry, the tragedy will continue. Oedipus arrived in Thebes, yay, and was treated like a hero for freeing the city of the Sphinx. Yeah, sure, all the travelers were happy. They wouldn't get turned into Sphinx lunch. So everyone was happy. He married the recently widowed Queen Jocasta, and together they ruled as king and queen. So he met this beautiful woman. She's like, you saved the city. He's like, you're pretty. Let's get married. So they did. And they ruled as king and queen. Now
Which would be nice if he was
Oedipus the king.
If she wasn't his mom.
Yes.
So, a few years later, the oracle told them that they had to find and punish the murderer of King Laius to rid their kingdom of a terrible plague. A plague being something that's happening that's really bad. Usually in these Greek tragedies, it's like frogs or bugs coming from the sky, and they just eat everything. No one has any food.
That's right.
So the city's suffering from a plague. They have to find the murderer. How can they do it?
I don't know, and I'm sure I don't want to know. But anyways, a murderer is someone who kills someone illegally. And it's not okay to do that. Murder is when you kill someone and it's against the law. So it wasn't like a soldier in a war. It wasn't someone was trying to kill you and you fought back and they died. No, you just don't like someone for some reason and you just decide to kill them. That's murder. You are a murderer. That's the most terrible thing you could probably be. And of course, this is a terrible crime, and the police will work very hard to catch the murderer and bring them to justice and put them in jail for a very, very, very long time. For example, the murderer of the prince must be caught. Oh yes, if you murder the son of the king or queen, they will definitely try to catch you, for sure.
And unfortunately, Oedipus soon discovered that King Laius was the old man he had killed on the road to Thebes. Oh!
Yeah, so he's the murderer, and also the lady he just married, anyways, we're going to find out what that is after the break.
故事接着写道，当伊底帕斯抵达他的出生地底比斯，那他因为帮助当地人摆脱那一只人面狮身怪而被当成英雄对待。那接着就娶了最近刚成为寡妇的 Queen Jocasta， 两个人呢就以国王跟王后的身份来统治。几年后呢，女祭司就告诉他们说，要让这个王国摆脱一场可怕的瘟疫，就必须找到并且去惩罚谋杀 King Laius 的人。那很快的，伊底帕斯就发现原来 King Laius 就是他在路上杀死的那一位老人啊。好，我们来看一下单字 murderer。murderer 就是谋杀者、凶手的意思。如果我们去掉字尾的 er 变成 murder 这个字可以当名词或当动词来表达谋杀、杀害，真是太悲惨了。我们接回课文中。
The Tragedy of Oedipus.
Though he had tried, Oedipus couldn't escape his fate. He had fulfilled the prophecy in the end. Queen Jocasta couldn't accept this turn of events and killed herself. Oedipus, in shock, blinded himself and was exiled from the city by the new king, Queen Jocasta's brother. Oedipus wandered the countryside as a blind beggar until his death at Colonus.
All right, so yes, Oedipus has just found out that the person he killed was the king. He also, of course, knew that he would murder his father and marry his mother, so he's probably figured out that Queen Jocasta is also his mother, so he has fulfilled the prophecy, as it says. Though he had tried, Oedipus couldn't escape his fate. He had fulfilled the prophecy in the end. He thought by leaving Corinth, where his mother and father lived, he would be escaping his fate, but he really went back to where his fate was leading him, his real mother and father. He killed the father, he married the mother, he fulfilled the prophecy in the end.
Yes, fulfilled is to do something as expected or hoped for. I don't think Oedipus hoped that this would happen, but the oracle expected him to fulfill the prophecy, and in the end, he did. He killed his father, he married his mother. He did it as expected, so he fulfilled it. For example, Brad fulfilled his childhood dream of becoming a famous soccer player. When he was a little boy, he wanted to play soccer, and now he's a soccer player. He fulfilled his dream.
And he didn't kill his father or marry his mother. Good for you, Brad. We like that kind of fulfilling of something, but this other kind with Oedipus is not good. So, of course, this terrible news is really bad in many ways. As we read, Queen Jocasta, Oedipus's mother and wife, couldn't accept this turn of events and killed herself. Of course, her life is a complete disaster right now. She's, oh my God, so that was too much. She kills herself. Remember, this is a tragedy. Oedipus, in shock, blinded himself and was exiled from the city by the new king, Queen Jocasta's brother, who didn't murder or marry anyone in his family. He kicked Oedipus out of the city after Oedipus was so upset he tore out or poked out or whatever his own eyes.
And what happened? Oedipus wandered the countryside as a blind beggar until his death at Colonus sometime later.
I guess that's the best you can do after that.
It wouldn't be a tragedy if it didn't have a bad ending. So.
And of course, back then in ancient Greek, if you were blind or something like that, one of the few things that they could do maybe would be to be a beggar. A beggar, this is a noun, is a person who probably has almost nothing in the world. No money, no home, maybe even no food, so they have to go out on the streets probably and just ask people to give them money just because those people are kind and they need help. So a beggar has nothing and is asking for everything, money, food, shoes, a place to stay, anything like that from a kind person who they hope will give it to them. For example, on her way to work, Jenny bought lunch for a beggar on the street. Well, that was very nice of you, Jenny.
That's very nice.
Yes.
Now, what do you think, Mike? Do you believe in fate, or do we determine our own path in life?
I don't believe in fate because I think we all have the ability to do what we want. We have free will, we have agency, we have the ability to make our own fate. Things happen, but I don't think there's a great plan, especially not a plan written by the gods or oracles.
That's probably good because usually the oracles write things like our tragedy we just saw. So thankfully we do have free will to determine our own fate.
I believe so. And I also can't believe that I woke up yesterday feeling like having a Greek myth, because now I'm really sorry that we had this Greek myth. If we have another one soon, we hope, and we would like to promise you that it will be more cheerful and happier and not such a tragedy. But who knows? Maybe it's our fate.
It could be.
Yeah, or maybe I should believe in fate.
We'll find out.
We'll find out next month with our next Greek tragedy.
Thank you for joining us,
Yes.
and hope you have a better day than Oedipus has.
That's right. Hopefully you don't have any tragedies in your life anytime soon. Be well, everyone. Take care. Bye-bye.
唉，所以伊底帕斯他终究还是实现了这个杀父娶母的预言。然后底比斯的王后 Queen Jocasta 她没有办法接受事态的发展，然后自杀了。然后震惊的伊底帕斯也把自己给弄瞎了。接着呢，被新的国王给流放赶出城外。而伊底帕斯他最后的人生就是以盲眼乞丐的身份在乡间流浪，直到他死亡为止。好，我们先来看两个单字 fulfill 这个动词它表示实现完成，那么 beggar 表示乞丐。那麦克老师在讲到伊底帕斯把自己弄瞎的时候，他说他可能是把自己戳瞎的，老师用到 poke 这个字，我们补充一下 poke poke 就表示戳或是刺。我们最后来看一个重点是 until 的意思跟用法。Until 它表示直到什么什么才停止，那它可以当介系词，后面就是接名词，也可以当连接词，那后面就是接子句。我们来造两个例句。Ron stayed up until 3 a.m. Ron 熬夜到凌晨3点，那这时候呢 until 是介系词。 Ron stayed up until he finished his work. Ron 熬夜熬到工作做完。那这时候 until 就是连接词咯。好，那么来看延伸学习哦。我们用 not 来搭配 until 可以表达直到什么什么才开始怎么样。所以这个 until 后面一样，你可以接名词啊、名词片语或是子句。我们同样造2个例句。They didn't leave until noon. 直到中午12点，他们才离开。这时候 until 是介系词。They didn't leave until the rain stopped. 直到雨停，他们才离开。那这时候 until 就是连接词咯。好，以上是今天的讲解，同学别走开，马上回来哦。
The Tragedy of Oedipus.
Shortly after King Laius's death, a sphinx appeared near Thebes. The sphinx stopped travelers on the road and devoured anyone who couldn't answer her riddle. Oedipus approached the sphinx and was asked, "What goes on 4 feet in the morning, 2 feet at noon, and 3 feet in the evening?" Oedipus answered,
A human.
Upset that someone had actually solved her riddle, the sphinx drowned herself in the sea. Oedipus arrived in Thebes and was treated like a hero for freeing the city of the Sphinx. He married the recently widowed Queen Jocasta, and together they ruled as king and queen. A few years later, the oracle told them that they had to find and punish the murderer of King Laius to rid their kingdom of a terrible plague. Oedipus soon discovered that King Laius was the old man he had killed on the road to Thebes. Though he had tried, Oedipus couldn't escape his fate. He had fulfilled the prophecy in the end. Queen Jocasta couldn't accept this turn of events and killed herself. Oedipus, in shock, blinded himself and was exiled from the city by the new king, Queen Jocasta's brother. Oedipus wandered the countryside as a blind beggar until his death at Colonus.
Yaleo Ocean World is divided into several themed areas. Ocean Theater has a high dive show. Audiences are thrilled by leaps from a high platform. People can admire sea lions and dolphins in the theater as well. It's enjoyable to watch sea animals move their flexible bodies. Sea Life Aquarium is designed to look like an undersea tunnel. It also includes extraordinary natural features from the Yaleo area. About 200 species of sea life are on display inside. Visitors can watch the fish feeding and octopus jar opening shows. Or they can feel sea animals in the touch pool. Models of ocean animals give visitors a look at the animals' body structures. Yaleo Ocean World also has interactive multimedia, painting, and photo areas. This place combines education and fun and is ideal for a family trip.
See you next time!